Hello and welcome to another video. My name is Eva. Thank you very much for joining me today. Um, in this video, I'm going to talk about the consciousness bubble I refer to a lot. And I did a little talk on the Zoom call last Thursday, and I felt like I wanted to go a little bit more in detail. And so I decided to record just a separate video because afterwards we're talking with a few people and there was quite some interest. And so I thought, okay, I'm just going to go a bit more into detail. So to start, as I started on Thursday, I had an experience about 2 years ago. It was in a one-on-one session with somebody. And the good part was this guy was just very open to, whatever can come in, can come in. He wasn't looking for healing or clearing anything specifically. It was more like, okay, let's just have a session and explore what comes in. And this was a very interesting session. So basically what happened was, so sometimes this happened and happens in sessions with people, so in group sessions now, or also when I do meditations, that my consciousness travels. So I leave my body with my consciousness, move into different places, interact, with different energies and different, let's say, areas, realms, dimensions, whatever words you want to use for those places, beings. So it's possible to move with the consciousness. I just call it consciousness traveling and go somewhere and then have an experience there. And a lot of experiences I had in the past that were teaching me something happened through that. And this is what I share often with people. Every experience we're having is individual and it's for ourselves, because it's, you will know right now, I will talk about this in a second, but what's actually happening there. But our own consciousness is reflecting back to us information, in that case, or experiences, what we need to have so that we have a little bit more understanding of things. And so every individual is individual, every experience is individual, but we can share them and maybe they are helpful for others as well. And this specific one, okay, so I left my body, went traveling with my consciousness, and there was something going on beforehand, but then eventually I ended up in this guy's basically room, and I saw him sitting there on his desk, and there was a bubble around him. And outside of this bubble, there was nothing. So nothing existed outside of this bubble. And he was within this bubble. And from the perspective back then, it's a while ago, but it wasn't even that big. It was maybe a few meters wide around the body. So I went into that consciousness bubble. This is what I refer to, or I called it, the consciousness bubble. And then I saw him sitting there. So first I saw it from the nothingness outside, surrounded. So this bubble was surrounded by nothing. So I was in this perspective. Then I moved into his bubble. And then I went above his head and I saw me looking down on his bald head. That was just an interesting perspective as well. And then I saw the light. So because I was transmitting light to him during the session, just came out of this consciousness bubble. So it didn't come out, it's not like there's like space and time out there and we draw these energies in, although we talk about it in that way. It's just good to have like a certain understanding, like we have this understanding of up, down and time and stuff like that. So we kind of have to refer to the things to make sense of the things that are basically not really explainable. But it's good that we have language. So language has the limitations, of course, but it's also good to have language so that we can communicate about this, right? So it's fine. We just communicate it in a limited way, but we try our best. So basically, the energy was being transmitted out of the consciousness bubble. So it wasn't even coming from me, it was coming from him. So his own consciousness, and this was the learning there, this was the information I got. Every human being and being on this planet, this is part of incarnating here as humans, has the little consciousness bubble. So it's very individual. And in this bubble, what consciousness does, it reflects everything on the outside. So this is why we have an experience on the outside, and then there is like the individual, and then there's the outside experience, right? So this is what normal humans are experiencing. And then, so whatever we are experiencing on the outside is just a reflection of consciousness. So I also see this in my everyday life experience. When I look in the distance now, I see it's just energy. And things seem to be away in a certain distance, but it's not. Like also at the same time, it could be very close. So this just through this experience of the Brahman, and then looking into creation, and then coming back, and things just changed how I perceive this reality. I see this now, I see this on a daily basis if I look, but usually, I just don't look because it's just how it is. There is no questioning about it, but just sharing. So things could be not as far away as we think or further away as we think, but basically it's just there is the consciousness bubble, and between the let's say end of this bubble and us, everything is projected energetically. Yeah. And so what we are projecting into our own consciousness bubble is what we want to experience in this life. So first, this part of it. So I talked about it in other videos. So we have this blueprint, we have a little bit of karma there, we have certain experiences we have to make in this life and learnings and so forth, and then we have accumulations from this life experience, right? So through this template, consciousness reflects through into the bubble. And so every human experience, because of that, because every template and also the information that's in the soul that it has gathered in lives before, right, is different. So every human being on the planet is having a very unique human life experience because of that. So it's not possible that we have the same. It doesn't work. So that's one part. The second part is that we are creating everything, and this is where it comes in that we are creational beings. You probably have heard of that before, and this is what I see as the God aspect within our system. So everybody is a creator. Like God is creating this reality, and we have this aspect within our system, and so we are part of this creation. We are creating constantly, so we cannot not. And so everything what we're experiencing on the outside, so everything what's reflected to us is our own creation. Yeah, it's our own creation. So it's just very fascinating, and it's only there when we look at it, right? So our consciousness bubble is projecting it, let's say, into the screen of consciousness bubble, if you want to use a word for it. There was also an experience, you probably heard me talking about it a while ago, or how I sensed it, when I had this experience of being in Brahman. It was just very clear that everything is just a projection on this screen, and everything is reflected back to me. Just stood out very much back then. Now, like I said, it's more integrated in the experience. But this is really how it is. So everything is just reflected, and then we are in this experience. Okay, so everything we're looking at and we're experiencing in the present moment is here for us. And when we look away, it just collapses and it doesn't exist. So basically, even though the experience of that is not fully there or is not there, so the experience of looking at something, then it's there, looking away, and then it collapses, it's still happening. It just means that the awareness of that is just not there so much yet, more in maybe intellectual understanding of it, but this will come over time, just this recognition. This is when I talk about awareness comes in all different areas. This is what I mean. We just get aware of so many different things. This would be one of them. So everything only exists within our own consciousness bubble. So, look at your life experience, go through your day and observe, okay, what am I experiencing today? And know it's your own creation. It's not somebody else's, even though you're meeting other people, you read a newspaper, you read a book, whatever. It's basically your own consciousness is bringing this person into your life that says specific things, is bringing this book into your life that you read this specific information, or brings in the news into your life, or whatever it is, right? So it's actually very fascinating when we look just from let's say a higher, broader perspective at these things. So, looking from the human perspective, okay, I move through life and things are happening around me. And, it depends on how I interact with these things or how I react. More to say, this is what I can decide, right? Yeah. But then when we look just at this different perspective, we get a whole different perspective, and we can deal with things also a lot in a different way, right? Because if I know the person that came into my life experience and said these things, whatever they said, and then it does something with me, I brought this person in, and now I want to go in more detail into that, because it's one thing. So this is part of this transformational process. What we're doing, or what we're working on, is we heal and clear the system. So when this person, for example, says something to us in a, like, let's say, in an angry way, and we experience the anger coming up, and like some past stuff comes in and so forth, then we just see, okay, there is something triggered within our system, and we can work on healing and clearing that, and then it just falls away. And then basically, and this is the interesting part, so when this is really healed and cleared fully, this person doesn't show up in our life experience anymore. Or this person shows up in our life experience, but in a different mood or just in a different way. And this is just so fascinating, because we are just not creating this person as being angry anymore, because we don't need this person to show us, okay, there is some trigger in our system. So this is the one perspective, is looking at, okay, this person is triggering me. And I work in healing and clearing. So it's always about the healing and clearing, letting this go. But then we can also look behind there and say, okay, I actually brought this person, of course, on a subconscious level, into my life experience to show me this or that. And this goes with everything. And it's just another perspective. And it's very helpful to let go of things a lot easier, because sometimes, okay, when we do the healing and clearing work, the energies are coming in. A lot of things are going away, and it's very easy, right? So you probably recognize that some things, they just go and you're like, okay, they're gone, and wow, it happened so fast, I didn't realize. But there are certain things that are just more sticky. It just means there is like maybe it's a deeper rooted or a more, deeper rooted, let's say, energy in the system. So it's harder to get out. I mean, over time, like, when we go with time, we do this work over and over again. And for quite some time, we eventually, this layer will be worked on anyways. But it's just a possibility to let things go faster, is that we see, okay, I created these circumstances. It's showing me something. And then when you look at this perspective, to let this go is so much easier. And you can do like what I usually recommend: give it away. When you see it, give it away. Give it maybe back to creation, since we're on this level right now. Give it to God, give it to the Divine Mother, whoever you want to give it to, just give it away. Allow it to leave your system. It's basically just a permission slip to help yourself to let things go for good. Yeah, and then when we recognize what, for example, this person or this situation is bringing up into our experience, let's say the anger, the fear or something, and there is always a story involved, right? So there's always a story on top. So why this person came into a life experience, and I'm angry at her because of certain things the person probably did or did not do. It's always a story on top. And best would be just to look beyond the story. I mean, it's always like that. There's always an underlying energy. It's always an emotion that's there. So just go beyond the story and look, okay, which emotion is actually being triggered. So just look at the emotion. Okay, anger. All right. So it doesn't really matter how this person behaved, if it was like unfriendly or, didn't fulfill the task you gave that person or whatever. So it's not about that. It's really, okay, what's the underlying energy? You could go like back and forth in the story, but it just takes forever to then go to the root. And most of the time people then get caught in the story, or just top layers are being cleared. So I just recommend going to the bottom layer, look at the emotion and see, okay, this person is showing me right now that I have anger in my system. This person is showing me, or this news are showing me right now, I have fear in my system, and so forth, right? So, and then at the same time, knowing that we have this consciousness bubble, because this often comes up, what's with other people in this world? What's with their experiences, they go through and so forth. Yes, I know, I absolutely understand where you're coming from, but like, if you look or if you think about what I just shared, we're manifesting this information in our consciousness bubble, which is unique because we don't really know if this person even exists, in that case. Like, we don't actually know, only if that person enters our consciousness bubble. Okay, otherwise it actually doesn't exist. Like, in our experience, it doesn't exist. And so it's the information that comes in, and then it does something in our system. So again, it just something is being shown to us, then in form of information. But I just want you to understand that not every information, every story that's present makes a lot of sense when you look from all these layers. It's more like, okay, can I look beyond? Can I actually look where this is coming from? And then when the energy is cleared, the info, like, this experience doesn't happen anymore, and also this information doesn't come anymore. So for example, when the fear is cleared, the anger is cleared, the resistance, whatever it is, then experiences like that won't come into your life anymore. It just doesn't manifest in your consciousness bubble, because you are the creator of your reality. And there is no need to reflect this back. And specifically, since we are on the path of awakening, so we want to awaken to our true nature, and we want to heal and clear our system, and then this is where basically, our life energy moves us towards. And this is why these experiences are created to help us on this path. So seeing everything, and this also is something very beautiful that came up in the Next Elevations and the monthly Next Elevations upgrade last week, which I thought was so beautiful, just to make the system aware. So it's an awareness on the level of the mind, but also to make the system aware. Look at the awakening process from a level of curiosity versus from a level of I'm the victim of my life and I want to escape life, and this is why I'm in spirituality, because it's, there is no difference between spirituality and life, is one thing. But yeah, so this is the sharing. Okay, so thank you very much for watching. If you have any more questions about this, please let me know in the comment section. I really enjoy reading your comments, and also then I reply to them as soon as I can. Also, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And also, if there are any topics you would be interested in, please let me know, and then I can talk on it in the Thursday meditation, so in the beginning. All right, thank you very much for listening, and see you soon. Bye-bye.